All right, check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Get an audio visual confirmation really quick before we get started. Hopefully, everybody's had a great weekend so far. Audio and video is good. Welcome, welcome, everyone, to At the Buzzer. I'm Jay. I'm filling in for Dakota tonight. Feeling well. He's had a long weekend. He'll be back tomorrow. Uh, we'll be back tomorrow. Should be back for fast markets tomorrow as well. But happy Sunday, everybody! Happy Sunday. Uh, hopefully you had a great weekend. Let me borrow a dollar. Only if you let me borrow two. Welcome to. Did I say at the buzzer? What I'm accustomed to. Welcome to Slow Markets. This is not at the buzzer. Welcome to Slow Markets. I am Jay. Hopefully everybody's having a good Sunday. Joined Anne Marie's market kickoff. Hopefully you're feeling prepped for the markets. And we'll get right into it. We'll talk about a couple of different markets, looking at the NASDAQ and at gold specifically. But if you guys do have any questions while we're going through this, make sure you put them in the chat. Shout out to Bruno in the chat, going to help us moderate this thing. Send over any questions that you guys have. Bruno also put the risk disclosure in the chat. So make sure you take a look at that. Not a signals class, it never is. There is considerable risk with futures trading, so make sure you are taking trades based on your own merit and you understand exactly how much you're risking when you place a trade. All right. Let's get into the markets. We're going to start with the daily. I'm going to do a lot of this analysis during the opening call tomorrow morning as well with Hogue and JD. It's going to be good to have Hogue back on TopstepTV. But the markets may change, right? The markets may change. Where is Dakota? Dakota is out for now. Right. So let's take a look at where we sit currently. We are still inside this big Friday range. Sick of hearing about gold, Joe Black. Gold is the MVP. Gold is the MVP of 2025. It has been the best trading market in my opinion. We'll start with the NASDAQ though, just for you, Joe Black. All right, so we are still trading inside of this Friday candle. We've been pretty range bound since then. A couple of things I'm looking at are daily ranges. Fix this ATR indicator. Looks like somebody was playing with my charts over the weekend, missing some stuff. But we have a daily ATR in the NASDAQ of over 400 points, right? So this is a range bound market since Friday, right? Every candle has been an inside day. We've either traded above or below the 50% mark of this candle every day since it printed. I'm kind of looking at the same thing here. The market, we know what caused this candle, right? Escalations in the trade war, the 100% tariff that President Trump mentioned with China. We heard towards the end of last week that he said, 100% tariffs in China is not sustainable. So we're looking for potentially making a trade deal. But the way I'm looking at this, we don't have a trade deal yet. So, the market is still kind of uncertain, a little indecisive about where we're going as far as direction goes. Of course, if you zoom out, look at a higher time frame, these are equity markets. They're meant to go up. But for right now, we've been in this pretty wide range that we have in the markets. Friday's range, high to low, was 620 points. 620 points. So far in the overnight session, we have 140 points or so. And again, that daily ATR is about 400, which would put us near that 50% mark of Friday's candle. Again, we've traded on both sides of that since we've printed it. If we start to use this as a support, then I'm looking for us to trade back up to the highs up here near 25 400s, but the market has not proven that yet. Why are all your balances blocked off? Because I don't look at them. I'm going to be honest. I try not to look at them. I try to just trade. But if you want the balance of this XFA, it is $7,000, 6,900. But I try not to look at it. All right, let's take a look at what's going on the 30-minute chart. I like to go from the daily to the 30 and then down to a 3 to see where we have the potential to trade. So far tonight, we've seen a little bit of short inventory. This is the open from the session. I like to mark out that first half an hour candle. And what I'm lking at is VWAP leaving that candle to the downside. right? We can see every time this red line VWAP is, me and Coach Paul call this urgency. Every time we get up to this VWAP, we're kind of rejecting from it. And if I'm looking at a target for this to the downside, anybody who watches at the buzzer knows what's this white line down here? 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart, 24,860, we'll call it. Looking at that as a potential target. Now we have some levels that we have to get through. We'd have to get through this 20 moving average, which is right here at 24,950. But I am looking for a potential opportunity to get in short this market if we are going to fall back into this range. Where we are right now kind of feels like it's a little extended, where I can't get in here. But if we get a pull up towards 25,000 and I don't see any buying above 25,000, I may take a short here, just looking for rotation back into the middle of this range. Because again, uncertainty in the markets. We don't have a trade resolution from what I'm understanding, the news I looked at over the weekend. So I'm expecting the market to kind of rotate between this range until we have a resolution. We can see this 200 moving average, and I'll clear up my chart just a little bit so you can only see the 200. We'll take the 20 and the 50 off for now. It's starting to flatten out a little bit, right? Where it was a heavy downtrend, but starting to flatten out, which in my experience means we're probably going to trade on both sides of it for a little while until the market chooses a direction. So again, I'm looking for a little bit of a rotation into that 200 moving average. If we get a pull up to VWAP, which is at 25.17, or this 25,000s, and we don't see any buyers, I may get in a short here. Probably about 50 or so points of risk. So I would be using micros for this trade. We will get into gold in a second as well. Did see gold open with a gap up and close that gap already. Gold has been a pretty wild market over the past couple of days if you've been paying attention to it. I looked at it earlier about 2 hours ago, and there was a 10 tick spread, full dollar spread in gold. So, definitely a market that I'm going to be trading micros with if I do get into a gold trade. Joseph Garcia, who asked about the balances, wants to know, is this my only source of income? Trading is never going to be my only source of income. I think at one point in my trading career, I thought it would be, but it will never be. So there are always going to be multiples, and it makes my trading better. It makes my trading better when I can rely on multiple sources. All right, so let's see what happens up at these 25,000s here. Do you usually use the 200 EMA as a target? So in this case, it's an SMA, which, there's going to be a slight difference between the EMA and the SMA. I don't necessarily use it as a target all the time. But in this case, I am seeing it as a target because it is a flat line and we've traded on both sides of it. So let's see. We're getting this push up into 25,000s that I was talking about. And I'm going to sell one. Short one micro. NASDAQ. I'm going to keep the risk pretty wide on this. It's above 25.50s. So risking about 120 bucks, not a whole lot dollar-wise. But if we reject at VWAP, I may still add to this for now. Right, but 25,000s was the first spot that I was looking. And again, I may take another trade off of 25.20s, risking about 50 or so points. And we'll let it go from here. Not going to risk a whole lot. Again, this is my first trade of the day. And normally I'm a trader that's trading during the New York session. So I'm always going to go smaller size. And then again, looking for this 200 moving average to the downside as a potential target. Right? Take a look at gold while we have this. And I have the NASDAQ up on another screen. So again, I'm comfortable getting into about risking about $300 on a trade here. So we'll see where this goes. Take a look at gold. Gold is bouncing off of that 200 moving average. Yeah, Dakota's not feeling great right now. So gold is bouncing off of this 200 moving average. Again, this white line, this is a 30-minute chart here. And we had a similar trade in the NASDAQ, right? Where we opened up, we had a move to the downside. We're holding off of this 200 moving average right now. This may be a decent long here in gold if I didn't already miss this trade. But I'm actually going to wait here. So gold, good to see you all as well. Peter Schapp, Stacks in the chat. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. So gold is in a spot that it's not just a blind buy off of this 200 moving average for me. And if you did buy it, you're already up 14 points, $14 in gold off that 200 moving average. I am going to wait. We know that at the top of the hour, right at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Central, we do get a gold spike in volume because of that Shanghai open. So I'm going to wait for that. But I do like price wise where gold is right now, right? We had a little bit of a pullback. We'll take a look at the daily in gold. We know Friday was an extreme sell off in gold, biggest move that we've seen maybe ever in gold. It was 190 point, almost a $200 range day in gold, 196 points. What I'm looking at is, that's the highest volume candle that we've had on the daily in gold all year. And again, maybe ever. We are going back to 2025, and we have not had a higher volume. Sorry, we're going back to 2020, and we have not had a higher volume candle than this in gold. So high to low, I'm looking at this range, and we had a similar candle last Thursday, right? Everybody remembers this 100-point sell-off in gold. That was the highest volume candle of the year. And everyone's asking the question, oh, hey, did they break gold, right? When we look at the charts like this, it looks like, okay, the rally is over, ready to sell off gold. But we hold that low and make the next leg up. So I'm not going to be the first person to call this rally over in gold. That was a big hit that buyers took, right? If you were buying up here, you saw it right as the equities opened. Gold sold off pretty hard. But I'm not going to be the first one to say that this rally is over. But it does need to come down to a spot where I'm comfortable buying it. And that's down near these 4200s, down near the lower extreme of this candle's range, because what gold has been doing, even when we have some of these big sell-off days, is holding that day's low. So right now we're kind of in the middle. I don't love this trade location. Again, we are holding that 200 moving average, so it could be a spot where buyers step in and buy it here. But I am going to wait. I am still very bullish gold. I think 5,000 is the target. Does the market have to get there? Doesn't have to do anything. But I am still looking for opportunities to buy this. Right. Try to get to as many questions as I can in here, guys. Uptown Dunk says my Uber driver last night brought up gold. Oh man, is that time to sell? Even though they said like the retail trader is getting a lot smarter, right? There's a lot more information out there for traders at this point. So maybe your Uber driver knows something. Can you tell us how you would look at the trade for an exit, or would you just scale in profits? Well, in this NASDAQ trade, up to view up. Really, I can't really scale out of this trade because I'm only in one contract. So I kind of have to take what I have on this one. Ah. But yeah, I'm just gonna let this one work. If we get to a 1-to-1 on this trade, then I will think about moving the risk. All right. Maybe the Uber driver was a live funded trader. It could be, right? Could be. Yeah, just on a one lot, keeping it small. Again, this is not my ideal time of trading. I do place trades during slow markets with Dakota all the time, but my high probability or what pay me the most, my trades that pay me the most are during the New York session, right? So I'm not going to take too much risk here. Like I said, I'm comfortable risking about $300 on this trade. So I may scale into some. We get at this rejection at VWAP here. I may get into. I'm short two, still risking under $200. And I'm comfortable getting into a 3 lot here. So not a huge position. And just looking for some rejection here at VWAP. It's been resistant so far. And if it breaks, then I'm wrong. And that's all right. I'm going to be live until 9:30 Eastern time. So 8:30 Central. We'll go for an hour. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. I am looking for potential gold opportunity here as well. Gold holding that 200 moving average. I'm in listen mode. What are you trading? Right now I'm short 2 micro NASDAQ. Short 2 micro NASDAQ from 2505. NASDAQ's trading about 25.17 right now. And what I'm looking for is this flow to continue. So far for the Globex session, we've had, price moving lower on some decent volume to the sell side. Now, we did come into an area where we found buyers last Friday. But what I'm looking for is this market to, on a daily time frame, stay rotational, right? We have wicks on the upside, wicks on the downside. We started this day with a wick to the upside, and I'm looking for us to kind of fall back into the range of this Friday candle, somewhere back into the middle here. So, not risking a whole lot. Could I risk high a day? I could, but I don't need to risk that much, right? Risking about $200 on this trade. Right. Gold has 15 minutes or so until that Shanghai open. You went ahead and bought gold on a pullback. Nice. Will we ever get alerts? Alerts on the TopstepX platform? I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. When? I don't have a timeline on that, but I'm sure we will get alerts. What are you guys looking at tonight? Anybody in any trades actively or just kind of hanging out watching? Consistent trader says this is a long breakout target 25.33s. I can see that. I can see that 25.33s up here. My stop's above that, so maybe you can get out and I can add my third contract and we'll be good here. Shanghai opened of metals. So looking for a gold trade. We usually see volume pick up at 9 p.m. Eastern time in the metals. So that's what I'll be looking at there. Seeing some buying coming in here. If we get back above 25.50s, I'll be wrong on this trade. Will cost me $200. Seeing some nice buying coming in here though. Off of those lows, we didn't trade through 950s. See what happens here. Again, I'm comfortable getting into 3 contracts, risking about $300 on this trade. No reason for me to really move my stop. Stops me out of stop. Nathan Thompson in the chat. What's going on? Yeah, gold. So, and remember, whatever time frame you're trading on, stick on that time frame, right? If you're scalping gold right now, scalp this move to the upside, right? If that's what you're seeing, right? I see some people saying, for scalpers, this is moving up. Take that trade, right? Take that trade every single time. I'm going to add the third contract here in the micro NASDAQ. And there you go. Risking 250 to make about $900 if we do get down to that 200. Now just need to see some rejection up here at these 50s, and we'll just let the trade play out. Just add to the losing position. Not necessarily. If I didn't say what I was planning on doing as I got into this position, I think as soon as I got into it, I said I was comfortable risking $300, and I would add, and that's why I started with one mini. If I started just adding, I started with one micro. If I started adding minis to this position, then yeah, that's just hoping that the trade goes in my favor, right? I could add a mini right now, make 5 points, and be like, oh yeah, I'm in a profit. Look at me, I'm a great trader, right? But at this point, my point of invalidation has not hit. I'm comfortable with this risk. Just gonna let it go. You get your working orders to show on the left side of the screen instead of the right. How do I do that? Somewhere in the chart preferences in here, chart plot alignment. Right? You can move this to the left or the right. Yeah, that's it. So in preferences, chart plot alignment, just move it to the left. Why is your stop where it's at? It's above 25.50, which is a whole number level. If we can look at the low of this move, we didn't trade below 950s. I like to look at these whole number levels as areas where the market has the potential to respond to. So it's above that. It's above the close of close of Friday, right? So Friday, we settlement is all the way down at 24,986 half, but we did trade after settlement by these wicks over here. It's above that range. It's above the high of the day of Friday, right? So just gonna let it work. See if we see some rejection up here. There was some rejection here earlier. Again, volume traded lower than this. Just looking for some continuation. If we don't get it, we will be wrong. We will be wrong. Let's take a look at gold. Continuing to push here. Nice bounce off of that 200 moving average. If I was not eating dinner a little while ago, I probably would have been in this trade, but nice trade here in gold. Anyone in this gold long? NASDAQ is just a constant bid here. Let's see what happens at 2550s. Not a whole lot of size sitting there at the 2550 offer in the NASDAQ. Where would you take profit? My take profit is much lower in this NASDAQ trade. This is a trade that I don't mind leaving on if it's either going to stop me out or it's going to hit my profit target. But I don't mind leaving this one on. My profit target is all the way down at 24,860s, but I might get stopped out of here before we even get there. Let's see what happens here and see if we get any continuation. For someone that's trading it with volume, you're trading against it. I don't necessarily think I'm trading against it. We did have this spike of volume right here, which maybe I could have paid attention to that, but the flow for the day so far was to the downside, right? And maybe this flipped here, but the flow for the day is to the downside. And this is to me, what I would consider maybe a higher time frame trade because I am looking for the rotation for the day to be lower. But yeah, maybe I am fading this volume that stepped in from this point. But the volume for the day so far is to the downside. Why don't you just get out and when it comes to a better level, you can get back in? Because this point of invalidation is still valid for now. I could have gotten out, but I'm comfortable with how I took this trade. Right? If I took it with minis initially, you know, I'm risking 15 points with a mini, if that. I think so. Trying to be super perfect with the entry on this specific trade didn't feel necessary. Because again, I'm risking 15 points, right? There are trades where I've taken 5 minis and I need to be very particular with the entry. On this one, I'm going to give it a little bit of space to work, and so far it's working. Right, I could get out and get back in, but at this point, I scaled in on the way up, not putting all the risk on the trade on up front. If I did, right, if I put all the risk on up front, I would probably be risking closer to $500 on this trade, which I'm not comfortable with. Have I ever been moved to live with Topstep? Yeah, I have. About 2 years ago, I did lose that live account, but yep, I have been. See, Nasdaq holding up for now. Rejected at those 50s is kind of what I wanted to see. Uh, let's see if now we get sellers to step back in and sell this back off. Gold 5 minutes before the top of the hour here. When is the next VIP draft? Not sure on that one. I'm not sure on that one. This VIP season that we're in currently ends in November 21st. So it'll be sometime after that, but I don't have the date. Uh, I think the Asian market has been bullish on gold. I think it has been. I think it has been. A lot of the buying that we've been seeing has been in this Asia session. Last week, of course, was not the case, or Friday was not the case. Everybody just came in and sold it. But a lot of the rallies that we've been seeing have been starting in that Asia session. Where would my take profit be on gold? That's up to you to decide, right? What are you looking for? What do you think the market has the potential to go? For me right now in gold, I'd be looking at 4270s, 4270 as a target. Halfway through this first half an hour bar, I'd be looking there, if not much higher, right? 4300s potentially, but 4270s to start conservatively. Ace Mula hit the like button. We appreciate you. Appreciate you doing that. Can I show my VWAP settings? Sure. It's standard VWAP high low close divided by 3. Color is red. It's anchored to the session. You can change this around, but anchored to the session. Top of the hour coming in here in gold. Salute from Western New York. Shout out to Western New York. All right, NASDAQ seeing some buying above 250s here again. Potentially going to stop me out of this trade. Again, it's just one trade, one data point. Not going to overreact to it if it does stop me out. Seeing some selling, some buying get absorbed here at these 50s, which is good for now. Again, I'm going to pay attention to gold here on this open, the Shanghai session open, to see how it trades. Speaking of New York, it sucks to be a Giants fan. Oh man, what a loss! I didn't see. I turned the game off. I'm not a Giants fan, but I turned the game off after the first half. I'm like, this isn't a great game. Go do something else. Okay, there we go. So stopped out on that NASDAQ trade, minus 250. Whoever said I was fighting the flow, maybe you were right. But that's all right. One data point. We're going to take multiple winning and losing trades. Didn't over leverage and see what my loss limit is for the day. I'm probably not going to get anywhere close to that. And we'll take the next trade. Yep, I am cooked. Good job. Good awareness. Yeah, 33 unanswered points in yeah, I'm out of the trade. I am out of the trade. Stopped out for 250. Let's pay attention to gold now. Stop loss was a better entry. Yeah, it might have been. Might have been. Stop loss might have been a better entry there. All right. All right, let's see what happens with gold here. Again, gold, I like this bounce off the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. And let's see what happens with the Shanghai open volume. Do we have news coming up? Oh, we do have some. Okay, so watch this, because this Bank of China news, interest rate news, could get these markets moving a lot here. Gonna be watching gold right now. It's just kind of sitting there. Pretty widespread in gold right now. 7 ticks. I like this question from Adrian. How do you review a losing trade to understand what went wrong? Right after this gold trade, I'll talk about that, Adrian, because I think that's really important. And sometimes there's nothing you could do different, right? The trade just didn't work out. See what happens in gold here. Seeing some selling coming in off the Shanghai Open, which does have the potential to change the trend of the day. So this is why I want to wait. Yeah, I think that's a really good question on reviewing the loss. So we can review the trade. Give us a second. I'm gonna wait for this 3 minute candle to play out here in gold. We can see some nice selling coming in. I don't enter trades on the 30-minute chart. I look at the 30-minute chart for context. For example, this 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart, that's an area of interest for me. And then I look at a shorter time frame for entries. Let's see here in gold. Rates unchanged in China. You can look at the calendar by hitting this little Trader Hub icon over here on the left side of your charts. Gold did just sell a little bit. I do want to be long gold. I would much rather be long gold near 4200s if it's going to get down there, though. If it sells off really hard, then yeah, I'm not going to fight the trend, but I would much rather be long gold near 4200s. You did say if NQ went above 2550, you would be wrong on this side of the trade. You'd be on the wrong side of this trade. However, you didn't change your position on it because above 2550s, I was wrong. And in this case, got above 2550s and I'm wrong. I still don't think I'm completely wrong in the direction of this trade. Just for that execution, I was wrong. I might take that same exact trade again because look at the hesitation at 2550s now. This gives me an opportunity to assess whether or not I want to get back into this trade. That 3 minute candle closed. If I wanted to take a scalp, if we don't get any follow through, I could take a scalp risking this low, which wouldn't cost a whole lot. I'm gonna be patient here. And I do want to be long gold. I don't know what some people expect for you guys to always be right. Yeah, I think it's funny most times. I think it's just easier to call out losing trades. Guys, if we were right all the time, you would never see anybody on Topstep TV. Right? We would just trade and never say anything. But no one's right every time. If they're right every time, uh, you know, there's something to be said about that. But yeah, your favorite quarterbacks, right? When you put your parlays on your favorite football team, your favorite quarterback is gonna throw an interception. The kicker on your team is gonna hit the uprights and miss. Everyone gets it wrong eventually. That's why we manage risk. Insider trading's always right. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how to get on that email listing. I don't know exactly who to send it to, but there's some other things that come with that too. So maybe I'm okay not being on that list. Gold rejecting right at that 50% right there, right at 4250s. So no long for me here yet. Yeah, if I find out how to get on that list, I'll let you guys know. Right, so no trade here yet on gold. Maybe they do want to push this lower. That 200 moving average again, maybe another test of it. I do like this as a test already. There was some selling that got absorbed here on the first test of it, but I'm going to be patient. Why long 4200 gold? It's where we found some buyers last week. On Friday, we found some buying down here in this 4200 area. It's also the low. And like I was saying before, on the daily, gold hasn't taken out many prior day lows on this rally up. And the one other time it did it with a ton of volume We held the low of that candle almost to the tick. The low in this case of that candle is right near those 4200s, right near 4196. So is it a blind buy at 4200 in gold? It's not. But if this is going to continue to trend to the upside, I wouldn't be surprised at testing Friday's low, not attracting any buyers below 4200, and then that gives me a spot to limit risk. Topstep still do the 5K club. I think it's on pause for now. That whole program is kind of being reworked with some different prizes and things like that. But I think it's on pause for now. Yeah, see gold not holding this candle, that Shanghai candle, and I'm kind of looking at this as the open, right? This candle here is the most volume we've had traded so far on the day, and so far getting a little bit of continuation to the downside. Not enough for me to want to take a short here, but uh no, this low is kind of holding for now. Uh, do you ever use leader lagger with gold in the Nasdaq? I feel like they should counter, but when they trend together, is that significant? Let me share a link in the chat. There is this correlation matrix that we like to look at, pull up every once in a while. I don't know that there's actually a correlation between gold and the Nasdaq strong enough to pay attention to. There's the link. We are kind of holding low of the Shanghai Open. There's the link in the chat. If you look at the numbers, the larger the number, the more of a correlation there is. I guess in this case, it's saying over the past 180 days, let's say 100 is the max. Uh, the correlation metric that they're using is 62 out of 100. So somewhat correlated. Um, but no, if I'm looking at gold, I trade gold. If I'm looking at the Nasdaq, it's 50-50. What do you think about order flow trading? It's the way I trade. Uh, I'm looking at depth of market right now in the Nasdaq. I'm looking at a bunch of different orders on the market, or sorry, and in gold and the Nasdaq, kind of where we traded. There is some volume that traded in this zone right here. For order flow trading, uh, I use Quantower. We have some order flow on Topstep X. We have a time and sales. We have a depth of market. Right? Sometimes people don't consider those order flow tools, but those are the OG order flow tools, right? Before Bookmap and all that other stuff, I learned how to read order flow by looking at time and sales and looking at two of them, one filtered and one unfiltered, and just reading the tape from there. But I think it's great, right? Knowing, I think that volume moves the market, and maybe that's why that person said, "Hey, you use volume and you're fading this move." Uh, Even though we are still seeing some rejection up here, I might take this trade again. But no, I think order flow tools are great. Do you use options flow data? I don't personally. The 30-minute range and view off strategy has been a game changer. Love to hear that. Who is that? Edison in the chat? I'd love to hear that. All right. All we do is provide information, right? It's up to you guys to take the information and do what you will with it. I do love to hear that. If I had to pick two indicators, what would I pick? Volume and VWAP. Volume and VWAP. How do you know it gives you a short signal or not? Clarify that question for me if you can. Gold holding up a little bit here. But it's also rejecting right at these 4250s. It's kind of getting stuck here. I don't really see a trade yet. If there is a trade that I see in gold right now, it's buying the lows of this Shanghai Open and selling it somewhere near the highs, somewhere near 4262. It's kind of just chopping around in this range. Chopping around in this range for now. And we did hold this 200 moving average, which I love. This is a kind of loaded question. How much would you say is a good amount to be making per week to retire from my job and live off trading in the US? like a normal city? Uh, that's a big question. Quitting your job with trading, I would say have 2 years of expenses covered, right? Where you don't have to worry about making a dollar from trading for 2 years. Because this is a tough thing to do, especially when you put the pressure on of hey, trading is your only income. Here we go, nice little bounce here in gold, holding that low. Uh, that's yeah, I can't advise that, but I would say have a lot of money saved. Uh, EKS, you see that, right? Buy the lows of that China opened. They came in, tried to sell it, got no price to move lower. Let's see if I can get an opportunity to get into this trade here now. Do like this a little bit better. And again, I think there's room up in gold, right? So I don't have to rush to get into a trade here. Where is settlement? Settlement in gold is at 42.1330. 42.1330. Why don't you and Dakota also look at silver? I think silver is a great market to trade. I just think it's kind of expensive for Topstep accounts, right? $25 a tick moves a hell of a lot. You can trade the micros as well, but I think gold gives enough opportunity. So that is high taken out, right? The only trade was a rotation back up to the upper extreme of the Shanghai volume. What is settlement? Settlement is the price that the exchange marks the market closed for everyone's books. Okay, so somebody's bidding gold now. Somebody's bidding 100 lots in gold, 42.62. No, Sir Derek. I don't know what you heard there. Check the NASDAQ. I like this turn here. Maybe my stop was a little bit too tight. We came right back to the. Do I take this trade again? Gold is wild. Gold is the wild market. Presenting a ton of opportunity, but not a market that I need to rush into trades. See that? Like, okay, so somebody just came in now. I said somebody was bidding 100 at 42.62, right? Now there's a 100 lot bid offered at 42.63. So right above the market now, somebody's selling a 100 lot. Gold is getting to a point where there's some extreme volatility in this market. I think it's going to run NASDAQ. I like this spot. I like this spot in the NASDAQ. Yeah, this gold pattern does look pretty bullish. AG, I'm about to go into live trading. What guidance do you have for somebody who's about to go into live trading? Don't change anything. Don't change anything. Whether you were copy trading or trading one account, don't change too much. Right. The only thing that really changes for you, from a technical perspective, is going to those 70s. The only thing that changes for you is that your orders are actually going into the live market. Outside of that, trade the same way. Right. If you feel any pressure to perform when you get into a live account, scale down initially. You don't want to scale down too much where then you're scared to go back up to the size that you were trading, right? It should really just be at this point you're very secure in your process and that's why you got to a live account. So just continue to do the same stuff that worked for you. I'm going to try this NASDAQ trade one more time here. I'm going to sell short two from 24.47s. And if I'm going to risk another $200 on this, if we get above the high of the day of 25,100, I'll be out on this trade and looking for that 200 moving average to the downside on the 30-minute chart. I like this rejection in this area. I have a better VWAP is below where my entry is right now, right? So we came back up to this first 30-minute candle. We rejected here. So far, volume is below me. And I'm looking for this 200 moving average again. If it trades above 100, I'll be wrong. That's okay. Can you elaborate more on why you lost your live funded account? Any guidance on how to keep live funded long term? Again, don't change your process, right? Don't change your process and really work through your drawdowns. You're going to lose on certain days, right? And we can see it in the chat. People, how people react to, the people in the chat who are just like, oh, this guy loses a trade, he sucks, or some of the ignorance that, and the person who just got hidden from the comments, I'm speaking directly to you right now. Some of the ignorance that you see in the chat tells you a lot about who you are as a trader and how you'll manage some of the tough times doing this. And that's not that comment was to someone specifically, but for everybody else, right? You're going to lose on certain days in your trading career, and if you overreact to those days, that's a way to blow that live account. Right? So you know don't overreact to any one day, because if we're managing our risk, like these trades right here, this trade may not work out. Do I want it to work out? I do. Is it a process based trade? It is. But if it doesn't work out, it's not going to blow my account. Right? If it doesn't work out, it's not going to blow my account. So uh, accept, know how to accept a loss. Right? That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Right? You're going to win. I think it's actually easy to win trades. It's hard to lose trades, right? Because we don't want to accept that, hey, whatever we saw was wrong. And if you can't do that, then you're gonna have a hard time doing this. But you got to a live account, you figured out how to get to a live account. Don't overreact to anything that you. That is anybody in trades right now, chat. I messed up my indicators. Which source do you use for view up? High low close three. High low close three for me. NQ just rocketed a bit. Yeah, it's still kind of pushing here. And I like this general area for shorts. If it's back above hundreds, I'll be wrong on this trade. If we see volume come in and push this though in the NASDAQ, I may cut this trade early. Long gold 42.46, long gold from 226.570. Short the NASDAQ, couple people short NASDAQ here. Long NASDAQ 25.95's targets. Okay. Let's see. Gold may be giving me an opportunity here. Maybe. Yeah. Risk management is key. Again, we're going to lose trades. How do you keep from overreacting? That's the hard part. You trade with reasonable size. If this was two minis, I'd be down $800 instead of $80. I'm sitting here comfortably because if I lose $400, I've lost $400 on scalp trades in the Nasdaq. I'm giving this one space, right? So this could trade up here and stop me out. My thought process was wrong on this trade. If we make a new high day, I'm wrong, but it's not going to cost me a whole lot. If this trade was going to cost me this account, then there's no way I could stay calm, right, in this. But I could take this trade and I'm still going to trade tomorrow. And that's how you stop from overreacting, right? And again, I think that's why we see so many times where people overreact even to watching a streamer lose a trade, is because they know that when they lose trades, they're over leveraged, right? So if you're watching somebody else and be like, oh man, he's a loser, he's going to lose all the time, you're having that reaction because you're probably over leveraged in your trades, and then it's the time to scale down, right? Time to scale down. Would you trade Asia and London or just stay in one market? I actually really do like the London session. It's just a hard time of day for me. It's 3 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm not usually up at that time. I usually wake up around 4. I have placed some trades in the London session recently, as early as as lately as this week. I took some trades in gold in the London session. I actually kind of like the London session a lot better than the Asia session just because of the volume that trades. My audio keeps cutting out. Do you ever swing or intraday trade currencies? I haven't looked at the currencies in a little while. Um, I haven't looked at the currencies in a little while. They were a great trade in the middle of last year. I haven't looked at them too much, but I'm sure they're still a great trade. Like, look at the Swiss franc was one that was moving pretty well. The Aussie has some nice moves. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of markets, guys. Right? There's a ton. There's probably too many for me to trade. We could trade 36 different markets at Topstep, and I can't pay attention to them all. I probably look at 6 markets a day, maybe. Oh yeah, levels, a bunch of trolls, right? Hey, gotta let people be who they want to be, I guess. Gotta let people be who they want to be. Do I use any other platforms to trade on? I use Quantower, right? That's the only other thing I'm looking at. And again, I'm just looking at order flow data. Uh, there's some indicators on Quantower that show me where the volume is. It just makes my job a little bit easier, kind of identifying where some of the volume is. But outside of that, it's Quantower, TopstepX. Where's my take profit on the Nasdaq? It's lower. It is lower. Is at 860s, and we may not get there. We may make a new high a day before we get down there. But I am looking for a test of this 200 moving average. If we don't get it, I'll lose 220 bucks. Would you be able to do a one-on-one with me? We don't do one-on-ones, but if you join at the buzzer, if you ask questions in the Topstep YouTube chat, we're in there all the time. So, and here's the thing, right? Where I still do think that the Nasdaq has the potential to trade down to 860s. If I knew exactly where the market was going to trade on the day, can I still make money from it? And that's where position sizing, timing, and location matter, right? The Nasdaq could trade down to 860s, but does it trade to 100 before it trades down to 860s, right? Or does it get there at all? Um, so again, you can be right about the market direction, but if you're over leveraged, have the wrong timing or the wrong location, you may not get paid for it. Can I show Quantower? See. What's up, SRT? Is that Derek? Hopefully, I'm not saying your name wrong. Gold now flat. Let me see if I can show Quantower. And again, it's just a platform. But hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Any other questions that you guys have, let me know. Do like this little pullback here in gold. Who was talking about targets in gold, right? See, we hit those 4270s and a little bit of rejection there. Again, not financial advice, anything we talk about, but that's why that target was 4270. 50% of this 30-minute candle that opened up the day. We got a little bit of a rejection there. So that's where I would start. If I was long, that's why I would start to manage the risk on the position because of this potential reaction here. Now, if we just see buyers step in and trade right above it, then I'm looking for the full rotation up to the other side. But if I'm long from 4240s, if we're getting up to 70s, I'm starting to think position management. Maybe you don't take the whole thing off. Maybe you scale out if you're in multiples. But this rejection here is why I was looking at 70s. Let's say this trade goes my way in the NASDAQ. At what point would I move my stop? If we get to a one-to-one, right? If we get to a one-to-one on this trade, I'd move my stop. So one-to-one is about right there, 24,990s. I'd move my stop at that point. At that point, if we get to a one-to-one, I don't need to take a loss on this trade. Can you explain why I use certain candles to measure from? Absolutely. So the first candle, and maybe this is where the better trade location should be. The first should have been first candle I'm going to mark out every day is the first 30-minute candle of the session, right? So this is 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central time, and you can kind of see why I marked this one out. I just seen the market respond to this level so many times that it's a good spot to look at, right? We have volume leaving that range as well, so that'll be the first candle I mark out. Did the same thing in gold here, and then from there, I'm going to mark out anything that is high volume. So high volume is going to be relative, right? And it is going to depend on the time frame that you're looking at. But I'll just go through. Let's go through Friday's price action, right? So I looked for any volume candles that are like 2 times the average. So I'll mark out something like this. Mark out this little range right here. Going over to the left, I'll mark out this. Then all I want to see is the market's response to these ranges, right? So we marked out the Shanghai Open, right? You could see all these candles I mark out, right? Now, what I'm seeing is, okay, we had some big selling that came in here. What is the market's reaction from that point? From this point, we found buyers, right? That selling stopped. We held the low, found buyers, and pushed the market up, right? So now I can take that one off my charts. In this case, what do we get? We saw selling that we pushed back up towards this high. Volume from this point is flat, right? Which is telling me range bound market. Could I get back into a short here? So high volume and session opens. The reason I marked out this 9 p.m. Central time, 9 p.m. Eastern time candle, this is the Shanghai Open, which is normally the highest volume for gold that we see in the overnight session. And then the same thing. Get this volume to print. What does the market say? We failed to trade lower, so we push higher, right? It's not always going to be the same exact trade. Sometimes we're going to push up to this high volume and hold it. In this case, we didn't, right? So this is my trade from here, right? We came down, held this. I should probably be in this long, but nice push here in gold. Yeah, gold pushing above these 70s now, looking pretty good. So now here's where I would start looking for that rotation above, right? Above 70. If we can close this 3-minute candle above 70, now I'm looking for the full rotation to the other side, maybe making a new high day. Gold is not done. Gold is not done. Why 50% of the first 30-minute candle and not 50% of the previous day's candle? I'll look at both of those, right? Pretty Lily. I'll look at both, right? So if I need higher time frame targets, 50% of Friday's range, 42.30, 42.93, right? But in the I have to trade the market that's in front of me, right? So what is the market saying so far? If the market wants to reject at these 42.70s, then that's where I have to manage my position, right? And I'll say manage my position because I may not take the full position off. But if it wants to reject at 70s, then I have to manage, right? If not, then we trade back up to these highs at the 90s. And then, yeah, that 50% of yesterday's range, 42.93, would be the target. And then I'll do the same thing from there, right? If the market pushes into 42.93, which is 50% of Friday's range, I would manage my position. Doesn't mean I'm going to take it off, but that's might be where I move a stop. That might be where I scale out if I'm in multiples. And then if we see buying continue above this, then I look for the next level, right? Which might be, in this case, whatever 50% of this high volume candle is right here, 43.20. Right? So that's how I set the targets. And then the market is just going to tell me how it responds to all these levels on the way up. BDM, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you all being here. Appreciate you all being here. It is Sunday night. You could be doing something else, hanging out with the fam, watching football. Speaking of which, we're probably going to end in a couple minutes here, unless there are any other questions. Look at NQ. Yeah, it's pulling back a little bit. It's pulling back a little bit. Again, it rejected at 50% of the 30-minute candle so far. Just looking for some sellers to come back in here. Right now, I have a better average than VWAP, so I'm comfortable with this position. And again, if it makes a new high day, I will be out of this trade. How do you have the 3-minute time frame and also the 500 tick? These are just favorited time frames up here. You can put two charts next to each other. If you click on this little square right here, you put two charts up. Right, I can make this one on the left side a 3-minute chart, and I can make this one a 500 tick chart. So you got to change the interval, turn that off. So the left side can be 3-minute, the right side can be 500 tick. What do you do to prevent revenge trading? Lock myself out, close the platform, go outside, get a workout. Uh, it happens. It happens. It can happen to anybody, right? It can happen to anybody, and I'm not immune from it, right? So I think what's most important is one, trading a position size that is not going to cause you to revenge trade every time you lose, right? Again, if I lose this trade, I'll wake up tomorrow, do the opening call, assess the markets, and trade for the rest of the day. If I lose this trade and it costs me $2,000, then I'm going to try to figure out how to get back that $2,000, right? So the first part is avoiding the revenge trade emotions to begin with. And then when you feel it, right, we try to recognize patterns in the markets. You know, people say, "Oh, my strategy works. My strategy works." Sounds good. Your strategy works as much as you have the mental capacity to execute your strategy, right? So if your strategy is working, but you are throwing a temper tantrum because the market's not going where you want to, then you're going to revenge trade, right? But just keep an even head, like even keeled. And if you notice patterns in yourself that precede your revenge trading, do whatever you can to not take a trade. It'll save you way more money than however much money you're going to make on that trade, right? If I know that, oh man, I feel that feeling again where I'm starting to sweat, leaning into my charts, I'm getting angry, so I'm about to put on a 15 lot to get back at the market. Do whatever you can to not take that trade. Whatever money you might make in that situation is not going to be worth it in the long run. Um, so identify the patterns in yourself and then do what you can to kind of mitigate the risk of making decisions that are not in your best interest. I'm not throwing a tantrum, and I've thrown a bunch of trading tantrums before. It happens. Uh, I was the youngest kid of three for a little while, and then I turned out to be a middle child because I have two younger brothers. So I might be susceptible to throwing temper tantrums sometimes. It happens. But if we can control our emotions, right, as traders, then we can kind of think clearly. All right, I'll answer two more questions here. Did you ever struggle with the psychology of profit target isn't enough and tend to over leverage on evals? Uh, Profit target isn't enough. I mean, yeah, I've struggled with that in the past, but it's your profit target isn't enough. Just a lot of the questions, like, and a lot of the things that we deal with as traders, again, myself included, anytime you start thinking about money, whether that's, hey, I need to make X amount of dollars to pass this eval, and I get it, right? The combines have a profit target, so you have to know exactly how much money you make. But if you just, again, somebody asks, why is this balance covered? Why can't we see it? Because it really doesn't matter, right? I want to be surprised when this account is at 10,000. I want to be surprised when this account is at $20,000, right? If I look at it and I say, hey, it's at 7, I need to make 3,000 more dollars to get this to 10, and then I make another 10 to get it to 20, then I'm not paying attention to what the market is saying. So yeah, I think every trader has struggled with that, right? Do what you can to keep your P&Ls off your screen. And it sounds counterintuitive, but if you're thinking about money every time you make a trading decision, you're not thinking about the right thing, in my opinion, right? Just take good trades. Take good trades, right? I am going to, let me see if we got one more question here that I can answer. And appreciate you all being here. I think that's it. I think that's it. Do I hold trades overnight? I'm gonna hold this one. I'm gonna hold this one again. My target is 860s for the day at some point in the Nasdaq. I do like this little rejection that we're getting up here. Again, 50% of that 30-minute candle so far held as a rejection. That first trade, maybe I preempted it a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna hold this one. I'm gonna leave it. It'll either cost me 220 bucks or it'll make me something in the middle. If I wake up to, let's say I wake up tomorrow and this trade's down here, there's no way this trade is going to be a loser, right? I might take a one lot off. I might take one contract off if we're down here and let the rest go to the target. But yeah, this one I'm going to leave on. Again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. And I know some of you faded my first trade, so good trade for you guys. But yeah, I'm going to leave this one on, let this work overnight, and we will see what happens for opening call in the morning. All right. If you can hit that thumbs up button on the way out, we appreciate you all being here. I got to stop answering questions. How do I change from money to points? Okay, last question here. Preferences up here. You're going to change chart value display type from dollar to whatever you want. Change it to percent so it doesn't make any sense to you, right? What a percent of what, right? And there you go. Now you can just let your trades work. Make sure you have a stop loss in there though for your account so you don't just blow it. But yeah, you can change that to whatever you want. But thank you everyone for joining. I will catch you all tomorrow for the opening call. We do have Aaron doing the London Open at 1:30 a.m. Central Time, and D with the Euro Trade at 4:30 a.m. 3:30 a.m. Central Time. So make sure you join them if that is in your time zone. If not, we will see you all for the opening call. Talk to you all soon.